so far and where you're going with it, okay?
You need help with filling the whole proposal.
Sure, I will. You volunteered me, I'm going to. Thank you. Man, oh man, this guy ranks.
All right, so I really focused on partnership one. Just kind of brainstorming here with my good friend, and just we came up with the partnership being the focus of at-risk youth. One of our on our exploration page, we wanted to kind of look at Houston Tate, who works for the Sheriff Office and the Office of Community Revitalization for our county. Guidance counselors, local guidance counselors, and local business owners who might be interested in kind of hiring some of these students so that as they're also part of our programs, they're being able to be successful members of society and other avenues as well. Then in formation, so this we gave ourselves, well, I gave myself a 4-month window of kind of just building that relationship and doing interviews and kind of gauging who we would want to bring on to the formation part where we'll put together, I say we, but it's only me up here, but you get what I'm saying. We will put together a meeting to invite collaborators and identifying a champion to convene this meeting. So kind of taking the focus off of us as officers and putting it more so on the champion that we would find in that meeting. And then we moved on to a strategic plan should begin to form in the operations stages. So we have 4 months until August to have the formation, and then in September start to formulate the strategic plan.
So what we talked about in this one, and I think it's important to look at this, is at first I think Denzel was thinking, I want a partnership with the Sheriff's Department. And I said, well, what's the outcome you really want? And what was it?
Just identifying the at-risk youth in the community
and
targeting them.
Partners.
Right.
If you're dealing with at-risk youth, think about all the partners you might have. We're talking about collaborative leadership. And what he talked about was very important. Denzel thought about 2 interviews a week might be possible. That's a lot. That's a lot to bite out of your schedule. So set up a coffee with somebody who's dealing with at-risk youth, 2 interviews a week. If he's really consistent at it, he'll do 32 interviews over the next 4 months. 32 interviews, he may find out of that 15 potential partners. Everybody may not be the partner. You might find other people are interested in, they're interested, but whether they would partner or not, so there's nothing altogether. Now, 4 months from now is when it's June. We thought at the end of that interview process, let's give it a couple more months, so when your invitations go out, people will say yes and come. And you always set this up when you're doing interviews with people by saying, would you be willing to meet with others who'd be willing to collaborate? Now, Denzel, will you be the champion?
No.
Who might be the champion?
So we're looking at either one of these members that we interviewed, or someone from the Salvation Army like Frank Marangos, our development director, who's on fire about this initiative.
Now you seem like you'd be a great champion. Why can't you be a champion?
I'm transit. I'm going.
So he's realistic about, the fact that as an officer he'll be moved on. What will you do?
A supporter, yeah.
Oh, you're not talking about that. I'm sorry. I thought you meant general.
Oh, no, I'm good on
You will play the critical role of catalyst.
Yeah.
Catalyst is maybe the most important role because you get the ball rolling, and someone else who loves this takes it over and shepherds it and brings it. So you're like a sower went on to sow. You drop some seed on. That's what you are. You're the sower. Now the farmer comes along, and the farmer helps it grow and bear fruit. So one of your big jobs will be to find the farmer who's going to really cause it to grow. Thank you. Let's get Denzel. All right, we're live.
So, we're establishing, our goal is to have a partnership with the local Boys and Girls Club. We have a wonderful facility here that needs to be utilized in a large way. Back up the context of programming here, we had an elementary school that was using it for 4 years. They're now in their own building, property that we sold to them years and years ago. So came across, we've had Boys and Girls Club programs in other commands, and just wanted to kind of see where we could go with that. Called up the Boys and Girls Club for partnership and did a little exploring. They've had 4 tours with different leadership groups over here, and they said, "We didn't know you had all of it," you know, that kind of a thing. And we're going to do it. We want to do it. And so we're in a verbal commitment. The timing of it is in process. I told the director, I said, we need a program presentation and a budget. So we're going to be working on that next. That would bring us to operations, program, and process. You know, we're going to be looking at that. So we're really excited about this potential, and that's one partnership in our community. Any questions?
Go ahead and give us a quick overview of the other two, because
Okay.
you need the full exercise.
So we're taking turns. So the partnership with Broward County in terms of their project of trying to end homelessness in our communities is a big endeavor for our community. So we are a big part of that. Therefore, our expansion and our grant campaign are like kind of tied up to that. So in terms of the exploration, you know, they provide all the data that we need for example, the point-in-time count, you know, to make sure that we are that we know how many people are experiencing homelessness in our community. And then once we know that, okay, what do we do about it and how do we do about going? So the 10-year plan, I think all of us who work in that field, we kind of know our community and what that looks like and what that means. In the formation piece, they are really the convener. They're really good at bringing people together and agencies together and making sure that we are working as a team in partnership. So they encourage that. Some grants, when you're applying for them, you have to provide MOUs, you know, like a memorandum of understanding. So yeah, talk about. You know,
And there's multiple arrows pointing into the center on this project in our community.
Who's the convener?
So Broward
The
County.
county.
Broward County, and they really have taken the leadership in this. They're really good at bringing all of us together. I always kind of joke and say, you know, there's like this big sandbox and we play there, and I think we learn how to play together and share the toys now. So I think we're doing better with that. They're also very good at managing grants. You know, they have, and they're good partners, they're very encouraging, and they also encourage us to work with other providers, and they also are good with accountability, right? So we have to be accountable to them, and they're also accountable to us. I think it's that two-way partnership that goes around. So, you know, it's really good that we have that relationship with the government agency, which sometimes is hard to make, but I think we have done a good job with that.
Lily, and I know Clint has already mentioned we'll be starting our work in Kansas City next month. You guys might take a look at their Zero KC. We are pretty impressed with the background work they did.
There is actually a plan with that. Is what we call is going to be a functional zero. Because what that means is, for functional zero is to say that we have available housing for every person who is experiencing homelessness. Either they're access the housing or not, which is different from saying we're going to have zero homelessness.
Exactly.
Right.
What we're impressed with besides their analysis is that they've been able to identify 5 key priorities. That helps to really focus the conversation, because you can convene cross-sector partnerships around each one of those priorities. And I mean, just as you're contributing to this, that might be something.
Absolutely. So I'll be happy to go to Kansas.
They would rather have you than us, I'm pretty sure.
Then about June shows up.
Yeah, right.
I know. And that leads us right into our next partnership, which allows for that expansion and those dire needs being met in our community, at least part of them. And that is the capital campaign. And as part of this exploration, we're actually a little bit past exploration with HUD. I mean, they've already committed some funding, the city has. But we're still looking at foundations, individuals, companies. Companies don't want to see homeless. As part of the exploration process, we're also doing another feasibility study. Also, the concept and the design, we're still looking at the budget as well. So that incorporates an architect who's done a concept design, which is not your total design documents that you typically have for a building project. It's a concept design. So that's a starting place for the next formation.
Yeah, which is getting commitments or input from DHQ, THQ, our advisory board, local command, and anyone else that needs to be involved in the process. But I think we've did a pretty good revenue there.
Have you guys talked to Ken Chapman in Orlando? Your compatriot over there.
About
They're working on two different projects.
Yeah.
One in Orange County, one, what's the other county? Anyway, they're $20, $30 million projects.
right.
For homeless, providing not just shelter, but actual residences.
Right.
But it would wrap around service. I'm just thinking conceptual.
Capital campaign.
Yeah, not the capital campaign. This is an actual project. But it just, your architect or whoever you're bringing in, particularly when you're thinking conceptually about delivering services, they may have something to offer.
Yeah. And then the management and operation in process.
Decision making by the advisory board and
Staff.
THQ and DHQ.
DHQ said just do it.
That would be nice.
So what was,
Was I not right about that? Oh, never mind.
what we're seeing here, what I like with Fort Lauderdale especially is they've laid the groundwork, and tomorrow as we go deeper into collaborative leadership, Greg's going to talk about some critical elements. You've got the basis for your next steps, and this is very powerful. All we really need, I think, in a real way, there is really putting some dates on your timeline. You may have them up here, but verbalizing so everybody on your team sees them on your plan. And then I would say the other thing is,
It's going to be by July the 1st.
okay. Everything out here?
We've got to rush.
Oh, I see. Okay, you all know there may be some moves.
Right,
But-
right.
Okay, I get it. Thank you. Let's give him a hand.
Hey,
All right. Okay, bring Miami up. Here we go. I'm gonna get a big reference. Hey, Ray's up there. Hey, Ray.
So we are working to establish a strong partnership with Miami Foundation, one of the city's largest funders. And to do that, we need a warm introduction. So the lovely Pat is going to provide that contact with Lindsay Linzer, who is of the Miami Foundation, so that we can meet with her in person and build a relationship. And we hope to provide additional funding for Pathway of Hope to be able to grow the amount of families we're serving. Our second partnership with the Chamber of Commerce, we want to connect to, first of all, pay our membership dues. And second of all, that's going to be
Picking up donations for that right now.
another warm contact. You heard
lovely hat.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, that part is. Yes, I did. Yes, I did. Fantastic. The fabulous hat.
Yes.
And we want to attend the events that they're holding. Xiomara was present at the event last week, and I'll be present at one of their events in the coming weeks. So we want to be present. We want to build a partnership. We want to invite the nonprofit board as part of the chamber to have lunch at our location. And again, just continue to make those connections with the chamber. Third partnership would be the Kirk Foundation. We have an advisory board member who is heavily involved, as well as the fantastic Pat, to assist with that connection, setting up an, again, in-person meeting so that they can come on a site visit in hopes of receiving future funding from this foundation. So in regards to the partnership mapping, it's important for us to stay in communication once we receive these contacts and provide updates as to where we are as an organization, and of course report out on the outcomes of the pathway of goal to continue to build that relationship.
Can I comment on something? The lovely Pat.
Or
Because I want
fabulous.
not to, but since you came up in all of these, in sociological terms, Pat is what you would call a boundary spanner. It's a technical term, or a maven in some of the language of sociologists. You want to find that person, the Pat, who has that kind of network into multiple sectors, and get them early on, early adopters. I mean, that's a key discovery, to know that you've got that asset. And you probably have at least one or two of those on your advisory board. And if not, you need one or two of those on your advisory board as a minimum. And because your community has more than these